Are you a mom who is stuck in a lot of deadlines, meetings, or in a corporate world but have a lot of passions but don't know how to fulfill them? Then you have to stay tuned for this episode because I had an interesting conversation with Lina FORRESTAL. She is a marketing head while being a podcaster, a blogger, and also she lives in a farm taking care of all the animals. So, how does she do it all? Welcome to the Researcher Mom podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Shivalee, a mom, mentor, and a researcher. So, if you have a lot of passions and don't know where to begin or how to manage a baby and so many of things, then this one's for you.
Today we have Lina with us. She is a corporate mom. She and in the midday, while a photographer and a podcaster and living a farm life. So welcome, Lina. Thank you for being a guest on the Lab and Lullabies podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, lovely. So for the listeners, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself about the day job as well as the kids, managing with them and moving forward. And please add the farm life because I am so excited about it.
Sure, thank you. And I'm excited to hear a little bit about how you manage it as well, because I feel like how we balance our workloads as working moms is so different per mom because
Yeah.
all of our jobs are so different and have different time constraints and responsibilities and demands. So, for example, I work in technology. I work for a company called Cisco Systems. I'm a program manager and I manage social media content marketing and influencer marketing. So it
Okay.
kind of ties in nicely to what I do on my own personal brand. But I
Right.
sort of got this job because I've always had a career in corporate social media, working on different corporate marketing teams, but then I've also always had a personal brand. So back when blogging was cool, do you
Mm-hmm.
remember TBT
Mm-hmm.
blogging? Listen, I still love to blog, okay? I haven't blogged in a long time, but I really miss like writing long form. And I feel like
Yeah.
podcasting kind of became the way I blogged for a bit, but more just like audio instead of writing. So, oh yes, hello listeners. I'm also a fellow podcast host. I host the New Mamas podcast, which is a podcast for new moms talking about the real and raw moments in motherhood. What's really great about the space right now is I feel like there's a lot of really great relatable mom content out there
Yeah.
versus when I started the podcast, there wasn't a lot of relatable. Like it was still the trend on Instagram to be like highly editorial and like really perfect looking. I'm sure you
Yeah.
all have an image in your head of what that looks like. So I have my day job, and then I'm also a mom to two little ones. My oldest is 4 years old. He just turned 4 in June. And my youngest is 8 months. She turns 1 in November. And then you and I have very similar ages, right? Your
Yes.
little one's 9 months.
Yes, my little one is 9 months. He turns one in November 2. It's November 2nd. And then yeah, time flies. Oh my God. I this year is like a blur. Like I cannot remember how I did it, what I did it, what am I doing in day to day.
And yet you're
It is
starting a
all
you're like, I'm starting a podcast. I don't know how I'm doing all of it, but I'm doing this
exactly how
too.
I'm doing it. It's just a managing different bins. I guess time blocking really worked for me in the
Yeah.
whole process. And this was the one tip given by my manager saying that because the first month after I started working after my maternity break, it was hard. It was real hard on me where I didn't know what to do. I felt like at work I was not giving my 100%.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I was missing my new little one. And then it was like I was feeling stretched at two ends. So I
Hmm.
just walk up straight to my manager. She's also a working woman. And then she gave me a beautiful tip saying that time block your calendar so that you know this time is to focus on the work and the other time is to focus on the new one. So you will not feel guilty. Like when you are working, you won't feel guilty that you don't have enough time with the little one. While you're spending time with him, you will not feel the other way around. So that
Yeah.
really, really worked for me. And yes, so whoever comes to me like struggling with the newborn phase, I just tell time block your calendar and just be sure that you take the action what is needed so that you don't feel like you're not been productive or, falling
Yes.
behind kind of.
Oh, I love that tip. And it's so good. And I feel like it also changes whether, so do you have childcare or are you doing daycare? Are you kind of juggling? Like, how are you managing like your job plus your
Yeah,
baby?
so we planned ahead, and for the first year of Veer's, like first year of Veer, we thought that we were not okay with sending him to childcare because
Yeah.
they are so little, like tiny
So
babies,
little. I know.
and that is how we have family support and grandparents covering in for the whole year. So
Yes.
my
Grandparents
parents
are
came.
magical.
Yes, they are. And all these things wouldn't be possible without the support that I have. Like, I think I come from a very privileged point of view where my parents and my mother-in-law could travel back from India and support us here. But yes, like planning ahead also worked for us. Like, how are you doing it?
Yeah, so I feel like it's funny because my mom is watching. I think I heard her come up the stairs. But my mom is watching my littlest one right now. And then of course it's Saturday. We're recording
Yeah.
on Saturday, right? So my husband's home and my dad is here. But I was just having this conversation with my mom of like, I feel like I could have more kids if I had family close by. But my parents live in Florida. I'm based out of New Jersey. So it's a 3 hour flight or a 16 plus hour drive. So they're
Right.
not close. And I have my in laws who are 45 minutes away, but they're really busy and it's hard for them. They're not staying here with us. It's so also different having family like live with you and help
Mhm.
you out versus family being close but not super close and then popping over once in a while
Yeah.
because I'm assuming your family lives with you while
Yes,
they're
they
staying.
live. Yes.
It's it's a huge difference. Like for example, this morning, my daughter was up at 4 in the morning
Oh, yeah.
and she was crying and fussing, and my mom heard her crying and fussing and like came down and helped me out. That's not possible if you have someone, family that's further away. And I know,
Yeah.
and like I said, like I think that's like privilege. It is privilege, like because not everybody also has a good relationship with their parents or with their in-laws to be able to have that support. So it just changes. It
It
changes
changes.
things.
Yes,
And
it
like
changes.
the
And
daycare, like guilt is also so real. I sent my son, so I sent my son to daycare when he was 7 months old, and it sucked. Like I did it. I had to do it because I remember sitting at a crossroads. I remember sitting there and being like, I can either quit my job or I can send him to daycare, but I cannot do both at the same time anymore.
yeah.
Because you probably had the same experience. Like once your boy turned like I'm sure 6 months, did you notice things were like a little different?
Yes, they are. And now, as he is growing and learning or hitting new milestones, it is much more difficult
Oh
because
yeah.
putting him at one place, it's impossible. Like he wants to grab things, he wants to explore
Yes.
and touch everything, move things around and play. And with them hitting their milestone and exploring new things and us working, it's impossible. Like,
Impossible. I actually think, no, it's funny. So I want to hear about what your maternity leave was like. I had four, so with my daughter, I worked for a different company and I had 4 months of maternity leave. I think it
mm-hmm.
was actually 5 months. I don't know. It was like kind of went like it was like such
Yeah.
a blur, as you know. But anyway, that 4 or 5 months was really great. And I remember asking my boss, can I stagger my maternity leave?
Mm-hmm.
Because all she did in the beginning was sleep. And as a
Exactly.
second time mom, so for moms who are listening, your first newborn stage, I'm not going to say sucks because it's obviously a beautiful, magical time,
Yeah.
but it's crazy.
Yep.
It's your first newborn stage. I think you're completely flipped upside down, even if you have help, because
Yeah.
it's just exhausting and you don't know what to expect. I will give you the strength though. The second time is much better. So the
Really?
second, yes, it is much. I think for everyone listening, I hope this is your experience too. I think that the second time is a lot easier. So I knew what to expect. And I remember asking my boss, can I stagger my maternity leave? Because all she does is sleep right now. She's not very
Mm-hmm.
interactive and engaging. And I remember when they became like more infant, like that they would need more stimulation. So I actually wanted to go back to work sooner and then be able to take my maternity leave when she was this age, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. But unfortunately, for policy reasons, it's just
Yeah.
not how maternity leave is structured for us, which sucks.
Yeah, that's true. But I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I literally did the same thing. With 2 months, like as my body recovered, I was gaining back all the energy.
Yeah.
And then I did not do a lot of experiments in the lab, but what I could do is just read papers and get into the field so that I was not feeling like I was left out.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Oh,
And
yes.
I did that. And the flexible hours and the support of my manager, it's really the key in the million things that I'm doing right now. Because if I had to block like completely 9 to 5, then it wouldn't be like possible, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I'm similar. I have a pretty flexible schedule. I actually work West Coast hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I start my day around 11 a.m. East Coast. And it's just like having that block in the morning. I can actually have that whole work-life balance that they talk about. I can
Yeah.
work out in the morning or I can run errands. I can get groceries, all those little household things that you need to do because my husband works outside the home.
Mhm.
So, a lot of the stuff does fall on me because I work from home. I'm fully remote. But I feel like it would be impossible if I worked, like you said, a traditional like 9
9 to 5.
a.m., 9 a.m., 9 to 5 in office. I just don't know. I mean, would it be possible? People do it. I think I would not just put her in childcare, but like it would be, I don't know. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know. We'd have to do it because salary wise too, I don't know if this is like too much information, but I'm also the breadwinner in our family. A lot of our bills fall on me. So I don't really have the luxury to like just quit. Like I hear this narrative all the time. I don't know if you've seen this on social
Yeah.
media, but it's like I wanted to be home with my kids more, so I just quit and became a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, that
Yeah,
is
like
not
just
possible.
get real. How are you going to pay your bills? Like,
I mean, sure, if my
means the
husband is like a
idea sounds really
CIO,
appealing,
oh
but
great.
how?
Yeah. If my partner's C-suite and we're pulling in 500K, okay, then I could just quit and be a stay-at-home
Exactly.
mom. But like, you know what? That's not the reality for most people. So,
Yeah.
and
And
life
most
is
of the moms,
expensive.
yeah, it is expensive. Like everything is expensive right now. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like,
Yeah.
even though we are like a mid-range salary, but
Yes.
still it is expensive. Like you cannot chip in all the things. And if you want to nurture the idea of just quitting and stay at home mom, then you have to be sure that you do something on the side, like a side hustle or something, like so that
Yeah.
it would be beneficial for your brain also. Like, okay, you're being productive, but not completely. You understand my point? Like,
Oh, yeah, I understand. I think it's really hard also if we've been like working our whole lives to like suddenly not work because we've never been trained, I guess, to be care. I don't know. It's not everybody. Like it depends, like culturally, where you are in the United States, how you grew up, like what your family background is. But I know for me, I wasn't nurtured to like be a caretaker. Like my parents were I'm a daughter of immigrants. My parents immigrated to this country, so they really wanted me to be a lawyer or a
yeah.
doctor or an engineer. Like, oh,
Oh,
I'm sure you understand
yes, I
if
do.
you have an
It's,
Indian background. Like, I
yeah.
know you probably get it. Um, and so not that there's a lot of pressure, but like I just was never raised to like see staying like not working and then being at home with my child as that was just never in the forecast.
Yeah, I
Not that there's
understand.
anything wrong with it. It's just wasn't. Yeah, but I agree. Like I think I could take a sabbatical. Like
Mm.
I could imagine taking some time off, but I would again always have a side hustle. I'd always be doing like podcasting or
Yeah.
Instagram stuff or like whatever.
That's right. And that is like it depends on person to person, as I realized it as we are speaking, that not everyone is the same. Some moms, they do
Totally.
want some time off from 9 to 5 and just be with the newborn, which is fine. Like that is what the whole point is. Like it depends person to person. The situation matters. Some of you can afford it, some of you cannot. But I would also say that moving forward, it is very difficult to come back.
Yeah, I
Like,
think so.
if you take a break and then you want to come back again into the job market, it is difficult. So having a cool justification of your time break really matters here if you want to enter maybe a corporate life or maybe an MNC, or, getting back to work also needs some background work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the job market's tough. Like just being really realistic. It's the system. Well, I feel like one, the system isn't built to support working mothers. Just as we were saying today, it's really hard to do it if you don't have family support for childcare, if you don't have childcare, basically reliable childcare, and if you don't have a flexible schedule. If you don't have those two things, I think women, especially mothers, are put in a really tough spot and have to
Mhm.
make some really hard choices. And that's why a lot of women do leave the workforce because of that.
Yeah.
Um, but realistically also, and this is something of course I thought about, was I worked my whole life. Like I did, worked, I hustled the last 12 years of my
Mhm.
life to get to where I am today, to get this career. Now, if I take a career break, again, nothing wrong with it,
Yeah.
but realistically, like I work in technology. Technology changes rapid.
Every,
If I'm out of the technology field for 3 years, I come back and everything's different.
yeah.
So
And it is
how
going
am
to
I
be,
competitive, right? Like how am I competitive at the salary I was making before? Like it sucks. It's just unfortunately it's not great.
that's right. And the whole point of sailing through this newborn phase and managing your career as well as motherhood is create a village. Like they say that it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a village to manage everything. So create a village, like ask for support. And if your parents or family is not around, then manage somehow, and ask for, maybe it is a daycare situation or a caregiver or nanny. Like uh, do shifts between you and your partner, and just create a village where you can thrive in both the worlds.
Yes, do not do what I did because I did not think ahead going back to work. With my second, well, so the daycare, well, okay, so let's dive in. Let's get into weeds a little bit. So daycare wasn't an option for me with my second because I exclusively breastfeed,
Hmm.
and she won't take a bottle,
Okay.
and that I did not think ahead.
Okay.
So I didn't even go into the goal of exclusively breastfeeding. It just happened.
Happened. Mm-hmm.
And because also people kind of sell you the dream too. So a little bit was like, "Oh, exclusively breastfeed, it's beautiful, it's the best for your baby, blah 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 blah." Fine. With my first, I combo fed. So I did formula, I did breast milk, we did breast, we did bottle, we did
Yeah.
everything. When it was time for him to go to daycare, it was a very seamless transition. Now with her, because she only takes the boob, it was impossible. It's impossible to leave her. It's even impossible to leave her with my husband because she
Yeah.
won't take a bottle. So I was between a rock and a hard place. And then hiring care, it was like I just wasn't finding the right fit of
Mm-hmm.
person that could work right now. So as we're speaking right now, I have a babysitter. But wait, sorry, going back to don't do what I did. Don't do Plan ahead. Do not do what I did. I just sort of YOLO'd, honestly. Like I just came back to work and I was like, I'll just figure it out. And I juggled her for the first 3, 4 months of coming back to work. That was insane, but I made it work. But it was like we were saying, it was easier when she was younger. And
Yeah.
then now I have childcare that comes for 3 hours a day. And then when my my sitter leaves, I put her down for a nap. And then
Mm-hmm.
she naps for that 2.5, 3 hours, that
Yeah.
like nice little
Yeah.
long afternoon nap. And that's I get at least a solid 6 hours during the day, and then I'll usually put in an hour or two at night, depending on what I finished or what I didn't finish.
That's right. So, like workplace adaptation to move forward is the key here. Like
Yeah.
adapt as you move. Like just do not give up saying that I cannot manage. You have to work around the schedule, maybe pull out 2 hours in the night just to have that peace and calm time so that you can think and put in work. But that's the key to move forward.
Yeah. Mindset. Like you said, I think mindset was a really huge piece
Yeah,
of me being able to manage the last few months. My mom like actually really helped me because I was like, Mom, like I had that panic when I went back to work and I didn't have childcare. I didn't know what to do. She wouldn't take a bottle. I couldn't leave her. uh, uh, uh. My mom was like, you can do this. You can juggle. You got
yeah,
this. And then it kind of gave me the fire to be like, I have no choice but to believe in myself.
that's right.
I have no choice but to just say I can do it. Like, when you're up against
Yeah,
the wall and it's like you can either fight or like die, basically. I
exactly.
was like, I gotta fight. I gotta do this.
You
And
had
I
no
can just
choice, to be
no
honest.
choice. I
Yeah,
literally, yeah, it was that or I quit. Like, and I'm not gonna, I can't, we can't quit because we live in New Jersey. It's very expensive. And also realistically, you get used to a certain quality of life
yeah,
too. Like when you have been making like a salary that I honestly, to be honest, I just didn't want to give up. Like
yeah,
if we had to go on one income, we would have to make a lot of changes. And we have the farm, which we didn't get into yet, but I do also have the farm, and that comes with a lot of expenses as well.
yeah.
But yeah, you get used to a certain quality of life. But yes, anyway, mindset,
Mindset
everybody,
and support system. Like
mindset and
build a
support.
support system and just move ahead. Like if you have the mindset that yes, I have to do it and I don't have any choice moving forward, then somehow you will make it happen. It wouldn't be a perfect picture, but the job would be done.
Yeah, and maybe there is no perfect picture, right?
Yeah.
Like it's what is the perfect picture? Because even having family watch your baby full time, there is still friction. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've faced this, but like just in terms of parenting styles and like how things have changed in the last 30 years, like
Yes.
did you face any sort of that like generational differences with
Yes, we
like
did. We
yeah,
did face it, but uh, what we did moving forward, like he is a mixed baby right now. Like
yeah,
he is not completely Americanized, but he's not completely Indianized. So
yeah.
all like we cherry picked the good things from both the culture and tried to raise him.
Is your husband Indian or is he like
No, he is
Caucasian?
Indian. He is Indian as well. Um, but we really like the systems what are in the US. So there are some pros and cons of each system. So
Of course.
so what we did is like we cherry picked the pros and try to inculcate in his upbringing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's realistic. Actually, a good example, and I want to hear an example of that from you, but an example for my culture is bed sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
we do that.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of cultures around the world bed share,
Yeah.
but you bed share safely because the beds in America, for example, are very soft and cushy. In America, we tend to have a lot more pillows, a lot more
Mm-hmm.
blankets, a lot more soft, cushy things, right?
Yeah.
Pillow top mat. Like, there's also like a culture of drinking here in America of like, so
While breastfeeding and
drinking. Well, right. And you're like
yeah.
all the things you're not supposed to do. The safe sleep 7, everybody, for bed sharing. If you're gonna bed share safely, check out the safe sleep 7 on La Leche League. But so bed sharing is something that my mom was like, yeah, why would you put your baby in another room and let it
Yeah,
cry? That's
exactly.
insane. My mom was like, that's insanity. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't
And
do
then
that.
it's tough. It's tough. Like, yes, they need us. Like this is the newborn phase where they need us. You want to build a bond with them.
Yeah.
And why would you do that? Like,
Yeah,
no.
and I think and I get it, of course, because of SIDS, like the danger of SIDS. And I think once the American Pediatric Association did implement more like, all the rules of
Mhm.
safely on their back in another space, that did bring down the SIDS rate significantly. But I also just feel like probably a lot more moms bed share than are willing to admit.
Yeah.
Wish that instead of shaming moms for bed sharing, that they would just teach us how to safely bed share, because like in other cultures, it's so common
Common, yeah.
to bed
And I
share with
would
your
say that
baby.
moms should educate themselves moving forward, like what are the uh, rules, or
Yeah.
how safely you can do that, and just go for it, like you have to create that bond. And in the newborn phase, they are hitting milestone every single week, and it is difficult on them also, right? Like
Yeah.
Veer is teething crazily. Like we have seven teeth. He was teething since he was born because he was born with a teeth.
What?
Yeah.
What? That is so wild. That's really rare, but I know it happens.
Yeah, and then so he's hitting milestone every single week. So I am not uh, encouraged enough to sleep train him because it is hard on him. So I'm like, he will sleep eventually.
Yeah, he'll sleep. And you know what? For everyone listening, I don't know what stage of parenting y'all are in, but my 4-year-old, so we've been bed sharing since my 4-year-old was, I don't know, 4 months old.
Mhm.
And he's 4 years old. He is well adjusted. He's very social. He is emotionally regulated because
Yeah.
a lot of the whole, I even had a therapist tell me, oh, you got to get him out of your bed because he won't be able to self-soothe. That's the whole, that's the pitch is they need to be able to self-soothe. Well, my son can self-soothe perfectly.
Yeah.
And we've been bed sharing with him. So I don't believe that BS for a second.
No, and look at yourself. Like we come from an Asian background.
Yeah.
We are able to self-soothe. We were
Yes.
like,
Yes. My parents bed share. Like,
yeah,
and eventually, you know what? I wanted to sleep in my own bed. It's
yeah,
just he's not going to be 13 in bed sharing. So we're
exactly.
not worried about it.
And it will happen, like eventually. Give it some time. Do not stress over it. Like, oh my God, we are bed sharing. It is good. It is good to create a bond between you and your little one, which you need time for.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I mean, so now, right now, I sleep with my daughter in a different room in a full-size bed. And then my husband sleeps with my son in our primary room in the
Yeah.
king bed. So, but it's interesting because like as a couple, we are like almost, I mean, it's almost taboo, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're sleeping in separate rooms. But you
Yeah.
know what? I kind of feel like it's fine because we're sleeping anyway and everybody's sleeping. I think the whole goal of the house is that we are all getting enough sleep.
Yeah. And rest so that we could get our jobs done and we could be productive when we are awake.
Yes, productive. Because there's no way you can perform at work if you're tired.
Yeah.
Like everything goes out the window, your mental health, like performance, your eating, your drinking water, like everything goes out the window when you're tired.
Yes. And talking about productive, one thing that has helped me is oh, I have the same bottle. Yeah. But one thing that has helped me is time planning and time blocking the calendar on Friday evening. So
Ooh.
Friday, towards the end of the day, I just take 1 hour and plan the rest of the week so that it becomes easier for me to manage the schedule and manage my energies around that. So this is something that we both, like me and my husband, have been doing. And the one thing has also helped us is like sharing calendars so that we know what are the priorities for the week, what are the priorities for both of us in their work. And this will be like, okay, this time I can support you, or maybe you support me. Like today morning, he was busy setting me up with this setup for the
That's
podcast
nice.
recording because he knew that I had a call at 10. So he was prepared. So it should like create a system which works for everyone in the family.
Yeah. I think my husband and I could probably do better at that, at sharing calendars. We have a big paper calendar that we
Mhm.
try to write things on, but then there's
Yeah.
some nights that we'll both be like, "Oh my God, I forgot to tell you,
Yeah.
but I have this go." And then it's like, ah, it's so we could definitely do better at that.
Yeah,
Um,
we started with this because initially it was like I was coming up and oh, I have this call right now, and he's like, even I have this call. Like
and
how
you're
are
like, "How am I
yeah,
gonna do this?" Yeah.
So that like friction create helped us to create a system,
Yeah.
eventually. Now we are doing better, I feel.
I think that's really good advice. Like even like okay, friction helped you all solve like find a solution. I feel like marriage is so hard in that first year of parenthood. I mean all years of parenthood, but especially that first going from like just you two to adding another human.
Yeah.
Uh I think you just have to become really creative problem solvers
Mm-hmm.
and like we had you know what we had a lot of issues around time management actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, around like doing our own hobbies because we both have our own hobbies. So it was like, are we having enough family time? Like it was almost like our family life pie was unbalanced of like having our personal times, having time together as a couple, having time together as a family. Like everything was all out of whack. And it took us a few years to figure it out. So that's normal too, everybody. I
Yeah.
don't want everyone to think like, okay, you have a baby and like everything's perfect always. There's going to be peaks and valleys in your relationship, and that's totally normal. I will also say like things were really bad between my husband and I like the first year and a half of having a child, but now like 4 years into go being parents, we are like
Yeah.
smooth sailing, like good everything is just like great. Because we just
Exactly.
had to figure it out. Like you have to become problem solvers and like yeah, this is so off the topic of work. But you know what? It's not because everything affects how you
Yeah.
show up at work.
That's right. And if you have a good personal life, that is going to reflect on your professional life and vice
It
versa.
does.
And
Yeah.
I was initially like, we are not doing this, we are not doing this, like,
Yeah.
the new phase. But PC used to always say this, like, it's a phase, it will pass on, you're growing, and we'll try to find out a way. He's more calmer in that way, and I'm more,
Yeah.
like, I want this, I want to do this and
Oh,
that.
you and I are the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he is like a great support system, and like, wouldn't the, if it was not the support, then you don't feel like doing the million things that you're doing.
Yeah.
So it comes from the support system that you build, and hence I always advocate for the village that you create in the
Yes.
newborn phase. And
Yes. And if you don't have family close, you know, I've also built my village. So I was new to this area. I moved to the New Jersey area. My husband's family's from here. My husband's from here. So he has friends, he has
yeah.
his own village. I had to create my own. Instagram was honestly a really
Mm-hmm.
good place to meet people. We have like, and I think this is becoming popular in different locations. Like, something something mamas like it'll
Yeah.
be like Jersey City mamas or like we have like I live in Hunterdon County so it's like with Hunterdon County mamas like you can kind of look at all those different groups and like search like wherever state you are like Minnesota moms and then your town moms like your
Yeah.
county and sometimes there's like a little community of people and I just found that the community of moms that I'm in my area everyone's so willing to help each other everyone's so excited to like make new friends because there's also this thing that happens when you become a parent that your friendships change.
Yeah, they
Your
do
friendships,
change
yeah. So
because,
sometimes, yeah,
yeah,
go
you
ahead.
and your friends are not on the same page. Your life problems become different as you move ahead in your life. And then I feel that you lose the common topic that you could talk on, or you could, spend
Things
time on.
change.
It
Yeah,
changes.
it changes.
And so, like, having someone going through the same phase and sharing tips and tricks, to solve those, we bond there more rather than uh, our old friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, you have to put yourself out there. That's another thing
Yeah,
is like having the confidence to put yourself out there. It's hard, but it's so worth it once you do.
that's right. That's right. But moving forward, let's talk about the farm life. Like, how do you manage? You have a toddler now, you have a newborn, you have farm, and on top of that, you are doing your day job as a corporate. So
Yes.
how everything comes into picture, and how do you do
Sure.
that?
So, breaking down my farm, so we have 6 acres out in Western New Jersey. We have 2 cows, 5 ducks, one guinea hen, and then like an array of chicken. Like, I don't know. I think we have like 20 chickens. They all free range. It's fun. And then we have 3 dogs. So there's a lot of animals that we take care of. We split responsibilities. So my
Mm-hmm.
husband and I really work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll basically take the morning shift. Like I'll feed all the animals in the morning, I'll clean, I will do all the tasks in the
Yeah.
morning. And then in the evening, my husband will clean, like he'll put the ducks away, he'll put the chickens away, close the doors, he'll feed
Yeah.
the cows again. Like so that's how we sort of split things up. But on hot days, to be honest, like I have to like run out in between meetings and like fill up the waters because like
Yeah.
it's so important for all the animals to be hydrated. Our farm isn't perfect, and we make no money because it's not a farm for profit. They're really just our pets, which I don't know if I recommend, to be honest, because like animal feed got so expensive. Speaking about things that are expensive, like things used to be a lot cheaper than they are. So, it's a little bit of a money pit, but it is fun. It's great for the kids. Like Archie, my son loves it.
Yeah.
So it's balanced. We found a way to make it work, but it's definitely work.
Yes, it is definitely work, but I am so inspired to listen about the farm life that you guys are managing on top of the million things that you are doing. So it's certainly the support and the time management skills that you have and the balance that you make. Like, okay, this is our passion and we have to make it happen, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just got to make it happen. That's the other thing. It's we're just like, oh, we got to do this. So, got to find a way.
Yeah. So speaking about the new mom phase and what would be the top three advices you would give to your fellow new mom?
Ooh, to my fellow new mom, like newborn mom.
Uh-huh. Or fellow working mom, basically.
Fellow new working mom. Okay. I feel like your advice of definitely trying to build your village
Mm-hmm.
is huge. Paying attention to your mental health, that is also like top priority.
Yeah.
Talk to people, share how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You are not the only one. I promise. Even if you feel like in your head, you're like, I feel like I sound crazy. You're not going to sound crazy. Another mom is out there thinking the same thing and is excited to hear you admit the same things because it's hard. That's one of the big things I did my second time around was I
Mm-hmm.
just paid attention to my mental health. Um, if you can find therapy, if you can
Yeah.
find that support system, someone that you feel comfortable talking to, talk to a friend,
Yeah.
anyone. It is so important to share how you're feeling. The second thing is it's don't try to do it all alone. I think that goes
Okay.
with what you've been saying this whole
Yeah.
episode of build your village and support yourself. I don't know if it's like the immigrant kid in me
Mm-hmm.
of like I can do it all by myself and
Yeah.
I got this. I don't need any help. Maybe it's also an eldest daughter thing. Are you an
Yeah.
eldest
Yes,
daughter?
I am. Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. Me too. I'm an eldest daughter. So I feel like I can do everything myself. You can't. It's fine.
Yeah.
You need this. Oh, my dad, my parent, I think my daughter is like fussing a little bit. Um, try to build your so I hired a postpartum doula
Uh-huh.
for my second time, and that was like the best thing ever because I had my mom, I had my dad, my husband was here and there in between work, and then we also had my postpartum doula. And that could be for anyone listening, like an aunt or a sister, like have extra set of hands. I know it's just one baby,
Yeah.
but
But you need
it's
a village in the beginning at least.
you probably remember,
Yeah.
you're like, how does it take so many people to take care of this one little baby? It does.
It does, it does. And because then like it's first time for everyone. We have to figure out why the baby is crying. Is it colic? Is it gassy? Or what is it hungry? And so you need different brains, and your brain doesn't work at that point. Like
No,
the
yeah.
panic situation, your brain just shuts down, and the mom brain is more tricky, I would say.
Yeah. I feel like and then going back to work, I feel like just have patience. Oh, I hate it when people give this advice. But it's true, like have patience with yourself and just have a like I don't want this to sound a certain way, but like have a winner mindset.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really, like we were talking about before, like a lot of what we go through in life, a lot of the hardships, like we really just have to adopt that mindset of like, I can get through this. This is
Yeah.
this is not my hardest day. I'm gonna have harder days ahead. I can do this. Like I got this. Like the belief in yourself to get through it is, I feel like maybe my most like my lesson for myself, like through
Mhm.
motherhood and like it's hard. I mean, it's hard. And you'll see when your
Yeah.
son or when your son gets, that I found the 18-month age to be really hard for
Okay.
me. And I would like go outside and just scream. I'd be like, but I got through it. Like, I don't know. Am I
Yeah,
crazy?
love
Am I
it.
being
No,
crazy? Okay.
no, these are like raw advices which everyone needs to hear rather than, sugarcoating it with like, have patience, it's a phase, it will pass on. This is what you should say to your fellow working mom. Like, it is going to be hard. Just have a mindset to deal with it. Like,
Yeah. Just because you're sad one day doesn't mean you can't also have that winner mindset. I've had so many days where I'm just like deep in the mud, like,
mm-hmm.
and you're just so like you might be feeling some baby blues or whatever, but just know it's a bad day, not a bad
Yeah,
life. Like it's a bad
yeah.
day, it's not a bad week. It's just a moment in time and you'll get through it.
Yes, love it. Love the advices. So, coming to the end of the podcast, I want to play a little bit of rapid fire with you.
Sure,
Okay.
that sounds fun.
So, is it tea or coffee to kickstart your day?
Coffee.
Yeah. What's the most used emoji on your phone?
The melting face emoji.
Love it. It depicts the stage of your life.
Yes, exactly.
Diapers, cloth or disposable?
Disposable, sorry.
Yeah. Ebook or physical book for your bedtime stories?
Oh, bedtime stories. For kids, physical book. For me, Kindle, because
Okay,
it's
yeah.
backlit and you can read it at night while they're sleeping next to you.
Love it. What's the most memorable mom win related to your work?
Ooh, definitely juggling my daughter. I used to have little stations set up in my office. Like I had the bouncer and the little play mat and the this and the bassinet. I had everything in my office and it looked like chaos. But all you see here is my face and my thing and like
Yeah.
nursing while on camera, obviously not showing my boobs, but like camera
Mhm.
pointed up. Um, Having her sleep in the carrier while I'm taking a meeting and not missing a beat. I feel like being able to like juggle my daughter and I'm feeding her or I'm taking care of her and I'm not missing a single beat because I just have that mindset of like, I freaking got this.
Yeah.
Like the dumb confidence. That's like my biggest mom win.
Yeah. It is like fake it till you make it. Like
It's
you,
exactly that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So is it early bird or night owl for getting work done?
Oh, ooh. Like night owl,
Yeah.
unfortunately, getting work done.
Perfect. What is your go-to stress reliever after a long day?
Reading in bed.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lena. It was a complete raw episode of just sharing the raw movements that we had throughout our motherhood and just connecting on a different level because we are on the same stage managing everything at once. So, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I cannot wait to listen to your season.
Yep, it's coming soon, launching this August.
Yeah, can't wait.
See you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.